trying to help. Look at him, so
Thanks
helpful.
for giving me something to
Alright, there should be audio now.
Audio, test, wait,
Boomerang.
hold up. The audio is working in Audacity, but it's just not working on...
Yeah,
Wait.
I added
There
the
you-
source.
Yeah, he's adding a source right now.
I just finished. It should
Did
be
you add
audio
it to everything, though?
now. Yeah, because I did most things.
But did you add it to all other scenes?
If I sit a certain way, my headband is doing that thing again.
Yeah, we're good.
We're good!
See, it's doing it. If I
Mutant
move,
Teddy!
it stops.
Thank you for busting our balls as always. Without my balls being busted,
Yay.
how do I know that my eggs are ready to be scrambled?
You're just talking without even getting the end right.
He does. I mean, it's fine. This is just what Brian does.
Like, he's good at it.
Oh. Yeah, I think Brian, honestly, like during one of our early videos, it was like the studio tour. I was like, Brian, just talk, and I didn't expect him to go, but he like, for probably about 10-15 minutes, not even, that's an exaggeration, for like 3 or 4 minutes, he just continuously talked about nothing.
He just wouldn't stop.
Yeah.
And I felt the pressure to just keep going. Listen,
I gotta see this video.
Hey,
thank you,
thanks,
Koro.
Koro.
If I were held by North Korea, right, and they were like, all right, you're our new anchorman, and if you stop talking, we take a toe.
You'd have all 10 toes.
Yeah, I think I'd be fine.
Oh yeah, no, totally. I think you'd be good up until the point that you decided to go to sleep.
Good morning, North Korea. My name is Pyongyang Brian, and I'm coming at you live from not my hotel/prison cell. And I'd like
Glorious
you
Leader
guys
has
to
provided
know.
me with a whole potato.
I'd like you guys to know that everyone here in North Korea is well fed. The
There's
North,
so much food. So much food.
the North Korean K-pop is grand, and I just want you guys to know everything is good.
Okay, so in this
Our
context,
missiles
I'm very, very
totally
happy. I do not want to go back to the States. Please do not send me care packages.
yes,
yes. Listen, in the same way that someone says, God, I really hope no one sucks my dick. Please don't send me a care package. Please do not send the CIA to rescue me. That would be a mistake. My address is not 123 North Korea Lane. I am not.
123 North Korea.
I'm
One,
not,
two, three, Candy Cane Lane? Really? Fucking...
I'm not staying.
All the addresses in North Korea are a number and then North Korea lane. It's so much so that Google Maps doesn't even ask you to type in the street name. It just assumes that it's North Korea lane.
I am not staying on the 3rd floor on the building to the left facing the glorious sun. I am not chained currently to my bed. I have not had to pee in the corner of the room for the last 3 days, and it is not smelling awful.
So I have a
Please
question.
help
And-
me.
If you do inevitably go to sleep and lose a toe, does the screams of agony count as talking?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
no.
So
As soon as you stop screaming, you're like, oh God, please.
And another one.
And now over to Pyongyang, Joe,
Pyongyang.
for the weather.
Just like, staring like someone's a scalpel nearby. Like, it's sunny because leader says so. And
20,
You see like the
24/7
shadow
sun.
of the scalpel, but
I've
it's on
never
your
seen
face.
the moon. The moon does not exist. The sun just sets, and then a second sun shows up.
Don't forget to play our new game, Yankee Killer.
Yes.
It was like Daddy Yankee.
Daddy Yankee.
Daddy Yankee.
Daddy Yankovic.
You make the last gasolina, para la gasolina.
I totally thought you were gonna start singing Despacito.
That's not. I don't know that song. I was going somewhere with that, but I don't think that was the same song.
I think
I do like the world
Instead
in
of
which
me, I think Weird Al should be the one who becomes a news anchor for
In
North
North
Korea.
Korea.
North Korea.
What do you think he would do? Like, what would he parody?
he,
he parody-
he would parody Despacito with My Burrito.
My burrito.
My burrito. I'm not.
Something about
Well, I think
Scrambled eggs
I
and
think
chorizo.
there's something really nice about this,
Oh.
where it's like you guys are a team of North Korean news anchors all of a sudden.
yeah.
Like each of you have like a category that you're responsible for. So like let's do a traditional morning broadcast of the North Korean news team. And if you guys are at risk of being shot or having your fingers cut off if you don't do super well. So let's go ahead and get a
You
game
want me to do
going.
the starting noises?
Can't hear who? Phil? I don't think he said anything yet.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me
His
let me
presence is
cue up
enough.
the appropriate opening sound for their new show.
Just don't get us like taking like DRMSRP'd.
Oh no, this should be
Wait.
fine. All it is the North Korean national anthem.
No, don't play that here. No,
We're gonna get.
you're gonna attract North
Too
North
late.
I'm
Korean.
not 100% sure about this.
It's the official vocal instrumental anthem of North Korea.
Also, I hope that none of you are planning on applying for North Korean visas.
This sounds like the beginning of Star Wars?
Still?
Star Wars in Russia?
In North Korea, obviously.
Oh, okay.
Here, I'll skip to
Alright.
the end. I'll skip to the
And
end.
Scene.
Brian,
Brian's
you're the star anchor. Begin the show.
Good morning, everyone. We're coming at you live from beautiful North Shores of North Korea Hotel A plus
Trying not to spill my
C123
whiskey.
ABC. I just want you guys to know I woke up today and I had food. It is a glorious morning because I've been fed, I am clothed, and I am here and I am alive. And I just want to give a big shout out to the one and only restaurant in the whole of the country. If you can, go visit it today because the line is long. Let me just say, the wait times for a table are literally a year.
And now for the weather.
Yes.
Now, I'm sorry for being late. I was hobbling forward because I'm already missing quite a few toes. But the weather is great. The sun is shining, and the sun is. There are as many suns. There are as many suns as there are tigers in the room right now.
Perfect.
And I can't riff for this long.
What do you want to do?
And on to sports.
Yeah, and now Phil with the sports.
So Kim Jong Un hit 18 hole-in-ones.
Finished the golf game with 16.
The perfect score. And then he just immediately, right after that, he went and bowled a perfect 300 4 times in a row. Never been done before. So, I mean, he's on fire. And he played the Lakers the other day, 1-on-5. Beat them all. Didn't even break a sweat.
Take that, American pigs. And now for the social scene.
That sums it up.
Refreshing. Oh, fuck.
I was just like, we need background noise for
Refreshed
this.
and dead.
Refresh.
Oh, we're back. Everything's good.
I don't
good.
know. I
We're
don't.
good.
I
We're good.
do not know what just
We're good.
happened. You
We're
know what
good.
it was? We were getting DDoSed by the North Koreans.
Found out.
Yeah. So there is. Okay. So let's go ahead and jump forward. There
Okay.
is something
Do you
I
want the
think.
marker for that?
No. Oh, actually, yeah, that'd be great.
It's like right next to me.
So I could like. I know. I hurled it over there like 3 weeks ago.
No, you threw a fork over here 3 weeks ago that I still haven't found.
Is that why there are no forks?
I threw
Yeah.
it into a different dimension.
Yeah.
So there's a topic that I think is on everyone's mind. It's the most important movie release of this year. Phil, you saw this movie, and
Yes.
it took your breath away, quite literally. It literally changed your life. So why don't you go ahead and introduce the film?
The Death Note movie?
Got
Is
it.
that what we're talking about?
I was going to say Star Wars Rogue Legacy. What's the Rogue One? But yeah, I guess there are movies that
Star
came
Wars
out that are
Rogue,
even more
Rogue
important.
Legacy 1.
Yeah.
So am I the
Rogue
only one that's
Legacy
seen it so far?
3.
Yeah, so you're the only one. So try and convince, because right now we all have a Netflix subscription in this
Yeah.
room, or at least a way to get to Netflix.
Yes,
so
Pirate Bay.
why should we not watch the Death Note movie if it's available to us?
Where do I begin? Let's just start out with it was worse than Ghost in the Shell.
That
Ugh.
seems like
And I wasn't as mad because I went in with really low expectations and was not disappointed by those low expectations. And I went in Ghost in the Shell, and I love the Ghost in the Shell source material more, so that's why I was probably really
okay.
furious at the movie. And I like Death Note, it's just, I rewatched it like maybe half a year ago.
Okay.
And realized it wasn't as good as the first time I saw it.
Mhm.
No, I think you really need to be a certain age for Death Note to
That might be
resonate
it.
with you. Like it's the same age where Bullet for My Valentine is like the coolest name for a band.
Well, the
that
anime,
you've ever
yes.
heard?
The manga, I think, had a more psychological impact because they cut out a lot from the anime that the manga had.
Yeah.
In the manga, in the first couple chapters, you actually see, like, the effect these deaths are having on Light. He starts losing weight.
Wow,
Just
really?
Like, yeah, he actually, like, starts freaking out. Like, he starts to, like, internalize
Huh.
all these murders until he doesn't immediately become, like, this egomaniac.
Yeah.
He starts out with good intentions.
Which
That
is
sounds better.
sort of weird. Like, well, not weird. I mean, I guess it makes sense, but it's weird to hear that the manga was better and then the anime shaved it down, and now the movie followed the trend and said, like, how can we cut
Even more.
even more
And just
and
cut out the scalp a little bit.
find
It's just hovering over the director's
how can we
face.
find the major beats and then miss them all one by
Yeah.
one?
One making him white.
Well, okay, so I guess that's another good point is, Phil, did it manage to do anything well?
No. Like, I don't know. There's nothing. I have no idea what they spent their,
What
their
about
budget on.
William Dafoe?
Yeah, William
He's
Dafoe's
great.
something I
He was
wanted to
the
do.
only thing that was great, but I felt like he tried a little too hard in some points. Like he's like, "Oh, I was born for this role, or this role was made for me," and it was just like
The
Little
same way
sad.
Green
This is
Goblin
like-
was.
Yeah, like he was great,
Hey, Peter.
but like the original Ryuk was also good. But
Okay.
holy crap! Everything about
Teddy
this-
has a comment. Ellen Light are just a character that don't translate into film. They need time to be fleshed out, which is why the original
Yeah.
live action movies were split into like 3-4 films.
Yeah, if you
That makes
can-
sense.
If you can do maybe 3 movies,
Yeah.
that would be better.
Yeah, I think
But-
it. I mean, so I've never watched the manga, but my understanding of it was that there was.
I've never
like-
watched the manga.
Yeah, I mean,
that would make sense. You probably put the book in front of you.
no, it's because
And then-
I'm totally illiterate, so that's the only way I can
Yeah,
internalize.
it's a live stream of
I mean,
William
they're
Dafoe
mostly
reading through the
pictures.
entire
There you
thing.
go.
You can understand what's going on from the pictures.
I'm sure there's that bit with the potato chip that I
It's
hear
not
is
it.
great.
It's
I
not
wish
in
that
it.
was in the movie.
But
It's not
there's
in it at all.
I don't
yeah.
remember that.
Well, it's like when you got these like genius
Take a potato
characters,
chip
when you
and
have
I eat it.
and that's like a full
Watch
panel
it.
in the manga, which makes
It's
sense.
actually like a whole bit, so
Mm.
I can explain it if need be.
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
So like, there's this important scene, like people call it the keystone of like Lightbeak, like outsmarting people, and that's what makes him like the great villain of
Yeah.
this thing. So at one point, like the police have cameras in his bedroom because they're pretty sure he's the killer. He's Kira.
I remember this.
So he has to figure out like, okay, how am I gonna do this so that people are still dying but they're watching me? So what he does is it's completely like set up in a way you're just like, what at first, but then you
Right.
like rewatch it again. And you're like, this is stupid. He buys a TV, like a small portable television, so you can watch the news. Puts it in a bag of unopened potato chips and like reseals it. Goes down, grabs it, puts it in his room so that he could watch the news and still kill people because there's scraps of the notebook in the bag of chips.
Oh yeah.
And in this whole time, he's like going over like how he outsmarted people. He's like in Egomaniacs. This is where he starts to ramp up, and he goes, "Look at me, I'm so innocent. I'm studying, but I take this potato chip and I eat it." Because he's like,
in the I'm assuming the manga, it's this big dramatic moment where
It was big
like
dramatic
it's like
moment.
snapping for him, where he's like, oh, he's outsmarting them, but he's putting on a performance for the camera, and like us as the audience are supposed to be like, oh, we're the camera watching him, and it's dumb for us, but we know what's really going on. But in the manga, they just took that moment and like verbatim translated it over, so he just has this potato chip. There's gifs of it everywhere of him just being like, I take this potato chip and I eat it, when what's supposed to be like a one panel thing in the manga is like 20 seconds
Yeah,
in
they,
an
like,
anime. It
draw
just
it
doesn't
out.
it just
That's
doesn't
amazing.
work.
but they
What
add
do you
like
mean?
stuff
It's
to
the
it as
best.
well. They like he has, in the
music
anime they have
playing
like
and
red
everything.
glints in his eyes, so they like draw it out so he looks evil while he's eating a
Yeah.
potato chip.
It's the best scene.
I take this hot dog and eat it. I take this Sonic Mania trailer and I eat it.
Yeah, that was a meme for a while.
Yeah. There just really is just infinite jokes that just erupt out of that.
Yeah.
They want
So,
you to believe he's super smart. That's
I
right,
think-
Teddy.
I think the biggest travesty of the movie is both the characters are not what you fell in love with.
I just
Yeah.
don't know how you could have done it in like an hour and a half. How do you get like a
You
rivalry
could have
between two
done-
characters?
You could have done something better.
Like I said,
what they
in
did
the
was
original
not the
ones,
way
they
to
pull
do
it off.
Yeah.
Like
And-
if you could have fit something better in an hour and a half with what
Well,
they
Do
did.
they follow the story? Like, mostly?
Not really.
Well, it's supposed
I
to
mean,
be like an
kinda.
alternate like dimension type thing, right?
They don't really explain.
No,
it.
they-
At the end of the movie, they're like, and this runs parallel to the other story of Death Note
was
in
just-
Japan.
Well,
But
because like,
Ryuk's the same.
Yeah.
He's just
Yeah.
like, yes, I got to see it a
Kinda.
second time. Now on to the third
Is
one.
there something like that in the
What?
movie where they're like, this runs parallel? This is an additional Death Note storyline in the universe of
No.
Death Note. Okay,
They're
Good.
just like, hey, this is our version of Death
Yeah.
Note.
that's good.
Well,
That's the way it
it's
should
like
be.
the like in comic movies. There's much more to everything.
Sure.
They don't bother talking about it because
Yeah.
fuck it, there's too much.
they just like make one line that like a throwaway gag and then never reference it
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. Well, so to establish, you guys are touching on something, which is that there just isn't enough time for them to make these characters sound intelligent. There's one thing that JoJo does really well, and like the first 3 episodes, you know exactly like what the main character is like, But it's because JoJo does like the most ridiculous bullshitty like everything.
But it's wonderful. And
Yeah.
I loved every second of it.
So like
Are you talking about New York JoJo?
yeah, so like I'm gonna use the New York JoJo. I think Joseph Joestar. In the first episode, a kid takes his wallet and then immediately starts getting roughhoused by like this pig-like police guy, and
I like how you tried to pick your nose when you did that.
Joseph sees him and is like, oh no, he didn't steal my wallet. I gave it to him as a gift. We're longtime friends. And the police are like, why are you gonna stop us from roughing up this guy? Now we're gonna rough you up. And he's like, he says, before you pull the trigger to shoot me, I'm gonna break your finger like a twig. And the police guy is like, there's no way you can do it. And he has a soda, and he like uses power to like shoot the soda cap by like fizzing up the soda. And he shoots it so far and fast that it like breaks the dude's finger. And like right away from that interaction who the guy is, but that interaction like taken out of context is stupid. So like that's how JoJo introduces characters.
I think a better one is if you talked about the end of that episode.
Oh, was it the Tommy gun bit? Yeah. So like there's like the whole show is about vampires.
Okay.
And a family friend dies because of the vampires, and someone's like, by the way, there are vampires killed a family friend. I'd be worried. Or no, he's just like a family friend died. And JoJo was like, I know. At a later part, the vampire sees him and is like, I'm gonna kill you. And Joseph says, I knew you were coming, and pulls out a Tommy gun out of nowhere and just starts like unloading on this vampire. And the way that it shows up and comes up, it's so candid.
Yeah.
Where the vampire's like, I've got you now. And Joseph's like, ha ha, I knew you'd come. And then pulls the gun out and just like unloads. And then the next scene in the next episode, the vampire gets up because he's a vampire, obviously. And Joseph jumps in through the window and like throws a grenade at the vampire, and the vampire like swats it away and is like, your silly human weapons won't work. And Joseph's like, look again, I knew you were going to swat the grenade away. And it pulls like 30 pins that Joseph's at some point between when he jumped into the window and left had attached to the vampire's scarf. And the vampire's like, no, and then blows up. Like, it's stupid, but
I knew you would do that, so I did this. But I knew you would think I would do that,
and
I
that's
did
that whole
this.
arc. But it works because the whole atmosphere of the show is crazy.
Okay.
And as something like Death Note, where it's supposed to be taken like really seriously, you kind of have to incrementally build up your characters to a point where you're like, oh, like this is believable, because the world is set like we're supposed to be the people who inhabit the world of that place.
Yeah.
Like the characters in JoJo are not the characters in real life, and that's what Death Note needed to do, but it can't do it in an hour and a half. It doesn't work.
I mean, they could.
I think you
No, I was just gonna say, like, Mimi said he's sort of right. If I had to give you sort of like an escalation of what I think Death Note could have been, is so far one of the superhero movies that has been really successful without having to dive into who the superhero was before was Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yeah.
Right? It did really, really well because the movie just assumed like, well,
You
everyone
know
sort of
who-
know
yeah.
who Spider-Man's. It doesn't matter. Like, you know, when his best friend asks like, "Oh, how'd you get the powers?" Like, "Oh, spider bite, whatever." It doesn't matter. Like, they skim over it. Like, it's not
Yeah.
important, right?
I think something really
And-
smart too is like, just everyone knows the superhero origin stories.
Right. I think what Death Note could have been was it should have started with Light already killing people, and he's already like confident. People are like looking for him, but the police force has sort of given up because they're like, we can't find him. And every time someone gets close, like they die. And what it should have been, it just should have been L gets introduced, and the whole movie's about L being introduced who he is,
Yeah.
him trying to find Light, and then him dying because he dies in the
It's
anime.
true. I guess
Spoilers.
if
Spoiler.
they're
Whatever.
Whatever.
The show is like 100 years old at this point, but there is something to that where if they're already going to take creative liberties, why not tell a different story?
I mean, they
Which is what they
changed
tried to
most of
do,
the
I
main.
Okay, so they
But they
Points.
tried
They-
to tell the same story, but
Yes,
also what
but
Americanized
worse.
was going to
Yes.
be. It's like,
Which doesn't
They made
work.
both characters babies. They're both babies, and they're both. I mean, Elle is supposed to be like a genius, and she's like, dude, you're.
Which I don't understand the point of like. I'm not
American
gonna,
teenagers suck. I don't want to see
Yeah.
a movie about an American teenager with the power to kill. Show me like a 25-year-old.
I mean, like, we
You
already
say that
have
because
that.
you're 25.
Yeah.
We already have that. We already have white boys killing
Brian's
people.
Brian's secretly asking for a role in the next Death Note movie.
But I want to be. Who do I want to be?
I would love to watch a Death Note movie where everyone's stupid. So
You mean the one that was just made?
yeah. But like, okay,
You want to see Idiocracy
yeah,
with Death Note.
like some guys like I'm only gonna kill like the worst people, and then someone cuts him off in traffic,
Yeah.
and he goes to the person's house, like, hey, what's your name? And
Like
the guy's Steve, who are you? And then he writes Steve down in the notebook.
like
and they
Evan
die.
Almighty type humor, I would call it. Like someone who's been given a power, but he's also an idiot.
Yeah, but like both sides are idiots. So like L is L is the
Yeah.
guy. Yeah, L is like
Real name Lolliet.
I'm not gonna say that.
It's
Yeah, I don't know, Meanie Teddy. Those decisions were stupid. Like,
Yeah,
it's
they
like
showed
someone said like, "Hey, what's high school like?" And someone was like, "Oh,
cheerleaders.
it's like this.
Yeah.
There's a cheerleader and she smokes because she hates her family and she's sad or
Wait,
something."
Does at one point does the cheerleader get an abortion?
No.
It's not real
Might
high
as
school.
well have.
Not real high school.
Can you
Like,
write?
they introduce her and she's like smoking, and it's just like you're in the middle of like a gym, like PE class. You're smoking. Like
Don't give a
that's-
fuck what the
That's
what the
not
man
gonna happen.
says.
That's
And
how.
then-
That's a good cold open
Wait, was
to
that
a
supposed
character.
to be Misa?
Yeah, I think so.
Is-
Sort of.
is-
Her name's Mia,
Ah.
That's
and I mean they had like 1980s like bullying, like hey kid, like pushing kids down, and it's like,
really.
So like
Okay.
none of that is like referential to the original characters whatsoever. I understand they're trying to tell like a new version of it.
So she's
It's-
not
But it's
super
just
reason-
hard. If you're gonna pull anything, pull everything. If you're not gonna pull everything, don't pull it at all.
They could have.
It would have been even better if they just did two totally different characters.
I would have accepted
Don't make it
Instagram
light.
model.
Just
Give it a
don't
little
don't
bit lower
pull, don't pull
scale.
Light, right? Don't make it about Light and Misa and Ryuk, or maybe Ryuk is fine.
No,
Like Ryuk goes and
do
finds
not
someone
take
else.
William Dafoe from me.
But
Yeah,
just get like a
William.
totally different kid, right? Someone from America gets the death and was like, oh, who?
That's what I thought this was gonna be.
Yeah.
I literally thought this was gonna be like, oh, they're gonna be like. When I first saw the trailer, actually, I thought it was gonna be some sort of death game. It looked like the way they were shooting it, that there was gonna be multiple people with a death note.
Well, because that's what happens in the anime, right? At some
No.
point, there's like two
Yeah,
death notes
some
running
point
around.
there's
Well,
two,
it's
but that's
Misa's,
it.
but it's never really. They're never really fighting each other.
No, I know they're never fighting, but there's more than one death note in the
I
anime.
Yeah.
just thought of something. It's like if you're a baby that's not born yet, and nobody names you ever, you can't be killed by the Death Note because you have no name, right? Like that's the rule. But the second that you give someone a name, like if you like name your fetus, then you could be Death Noted. So like
Right.
if you're, you could get a luxury career as a abortionist. If you just like, if you
I had no idea where this was going.
if you were just like, okay, I just need you
Okay.
real quick, just name your kid, and they're like Steven, and then it just like shoots out of you.
you can write it like busts out of her chest. Like,
Would you guys
alien
read?
style.
Would you guys watch that the abortionist Death Note?
Yes.
I think, yeah, I really.
The difference is like you're not really doing it. You're just killing the baby, and then the pregnant lady still has to carry it.
Well, don't you get like isn't one of the things that you get years equal to life, equal to the life of the person that you kill?
Well, that only
No,
works
that's-
for
that's
for
for
the
Ryuk.
Again,
the
have
death,
not-
the death
Oh.
gods.
Only
Okay.
know.
Ryuk, the whole point of the Shinigami is that they get the lifespan that would have been lived out by the person who's using the Death Note. The person using the Death Note doesn't gain anything from killing people other than the ability to kill people. But they can get something called Shinigami Eyes by cutting their lifespan in half so that they can see everyone's name like a HUD. So
Oh.
you just get like a HUD show up and you're like, oh, I know what this guy's name is. Dead.
Misa
it.
was actually it was actually part of her character arc. Misa was about to die by a stalker, and there was a Shinigami that was like following her, and he was like obsessed with her, and he actually gives her he kills the guy, and like kills himself in the process. It's like he took somebody that it wasn't their time yet or something. I forget exactly the
He
process.
prevented her
Yeah, he
from-
prevented her from dying, and in the process of him dying, all of his lifespan got transferred to Misa.
Oh,
It's a
shit.
rare case of a stalker kind of 2-for-1ing.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a way, it's weird because she was like, what they're really saying there is that it's okay if you have a stalker as long as they can like
As long as there's a Shinigami
Yeah.
following you, and he's even more of a stalker.
As long as you have two stalkers, they cancel each
Yeah,
other.
they-
No, not only do they
negate-
cancel each other out, you get a plus. You
Yeah.
get-
Oh yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
I think one of the big things that also bothered me was in the anime manga, the iconic death is everybody dying from heart attacks.
Right.
That's everything. Like it's just like very rare that almost like 90% of the guys die with heart attacks.
Right.
In this one, it was like 2 people that died.
Even
from heart
even
attacks.
Elle
Or, like,
dies of
one.
a heart attack.
Yeah, everybody. But like in the movie, it was they really. It looks like they probably like spent their budget on like really gory, like hyper.
Ah, that's a shame.
And it was just like, hey, let's just like make this Americanized
Yeah.
and hyper violent and
Yeah.
Well,
it's
I
gonna
think-
attract people.
I mean,
and it was
That's
not-
like Fast and Furious level stuff. Like save that for Final Destination. You're,
But
you're,
Fast
you're
and
being
Furious is
smart.
fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah, they're doing it on purpose. They're self-aware now.
That's perfect, right? Because when we went to go see, I think, Baby Driver or something, there was a movie recently within the last like 3 months. There was a trailer for Fast and Furious 8 or whatever,
Fate of the Furious.
and The Rock comes out and pushes a missile away
With his
like,
bare hands.
fucking
With his-
hands.
yeah.
It's just like, what the fuck? What am I
Well,
watching?
That movie was actually my dad saw it. He's like, yeah, this was a build up for a spin off with The Rock and the other dude's character. This is just build up for that.
Wait, which other?
Decker.
Okay.
Oh, really?
But it is
A buddy cop movie with The
Yeah.
Rock and Jason Statham.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would
funny.
watch
I will-
the shit out of that. Oh my
Yes.
god.
But I was just like, they could have just made that. They didn't need to make another movie to build this up.
because it has to exist inside of the Fast and the Furious universe.
I'm
Or
a
the
cop and I don't
universe.
like you.
Yeah, the-
well, I'm a criminal and I don't like you, but we're gonna work together to
Yeah.
bring.
I guess we'll be
justice.
friends
gonna,
now.
We're gonna use our biceps to save the world.
Like,
Yes.
do you guys want a job? It sounds like you just described the universe of Fast and the Furious.
next one.
Yeah.
Fast nine. What is it?
Fast 9 Furious Diesel.
9 Fast, 9 Furious.
I do have a question for you, Phil.
Go ahead.
So one of the other iconic things about it
Yeah,
was
but
like,
me and Teddy said just real quick. Yeah, what he said is absolutely right. The
Yeah.
heart
Yeah.
attack is what made it believable, and it's why near the end, I'm told because I don't remember it as well anymore. But near the end, Lights like Emma was just heart attacks.
Yeah.
He stopped. He
Yeah.
stopped like conceiving all these crazy shit and just like.
Well, before he was like testing things, and it was just like, let me see what I can put to the test, and
Yeah.
that was a great whole arc
Right.
in the manga. Is like you get to see like the limits of the Death Note, and in this one, it it was just like Ryuk tells him like, hey, like these are the rules, and it's just like, okay, like there's like 100 rules in the book, and it was
wasn't
I
there?
think
There was
in the
only like
original there was, like,
5.
3.
there's
No,
Like,
there was a
three?
few.
Yeah, it's on the back of the book.
yeah, there was a little bit. There was like I thought there was like 10, but
Like,
Yeah,
by the way,
it's
don't
some
sign your name
number-
in the corner.
But like the whole build up, right, is that the first couple of ones like say a bunch of stuff, but then like the last rule that you get is like, oh, just kidding. There's no heaven or hell. Everything sucks. You suck. Life is pointless. Fuck you.
Yeah.
It was sort of
But
like
my
a bummer.
question was, one of the other iconic parts was just the way like Light uses people.
Mhm.
Is that prevalent in that? Like
Kinda.
how he uses that really smart girl from his college and then like offs her,
no,
and then the continued use of Misa.
nah.
That was
No.
like
they were
How
actually-
would you fit that in an hour and a half that
like,
was already so
yeah.
full with garbage?
They were actually like, oh, like we're
You just
in love.
you just
let's,
said it.
let's clean the world up, and
that's stupid.
he didn't really.
That was
use
like
anybody.
such an important. There was
Yeah.
like an arc for Misa and everything.
Yeah, also, there's something to be said about like Western filmmaking here too, because Death Note is supposed to be a gothic, like dark story. Like everything is, all the volume knobs are supposed to be turned up to 11. It is supposed to be kind of crazy and outlandish. Like the characters are all supposed to be super dramatic, and like
Sure.
the world that they live in is supposed to be this very like sort of shitty place, but with like highlights of human character so that they can appear clever or whatever. And in American filmmaking, you don't really get a lot of the like gothic archetypes or the gothic storytelling. You think gothic, you think like Batman, like the animated series, or you think like Frankenstein, the book. And you can't really translate those details over in like Western cinema.
Teddy says Light was portrayed as the hero because he's white.
Yeah, I mean that's what it comes down to, really.
Yeah.
I mean, like look at
What do you want? What do you
look
want?
at Fast and the Furious. Jason Statham, I think we'll all agree is the perfect white person. But that's just me. So like, if you guys had to translate Death Note over, what format would it take, and how would you do it?
You want to start with Phil?
I think if you wanted to make it, you could have probably made this Death Note movie much better if it was like a 3-part movie,
Yeah.
where it was like the first act is like introducing L and Ryuk, and at the end, L comes, and then like the second part is like L and Light kind of like duking it out, and then the
Mhm.
last
Is the
scene
conclusion,
is
the arc.
like, L catching. I would just say just end it with L not dying, because everybody liked L. There was no need for him to die in the first place. I think
Mhm.
they just wanted to like
His
make it
replacements,
longer and
nobody
stuff.
liked his replacements.
Like if the third movie was like L like setting up a trap like the whole time, and it just like comes
It
through at the
plays
end
out.
and
Yeah, I think
catches him.
one thing we both watched the detective show, Dirk Gently Holistic Detective Agency, and the whole like Dirk Gently kind of the way that it unfolds is like this bear trap that you've stepped in, where you don't know it's a bear trap until the very end. So it starts off with this premise where it's like there's like shark bites in the ceiling, and there's like a fire, and everyone's torn in half and dead, and you're like, what the fuck happened in here? And the guy's going up to the elevator and he sees himself. And then over the course of the show, like that's the trap, and then over the course of the show it explores how all of that stuff happened, and like it's this really crazy detective story.
Yeah.
But there's still that moment of like, oh, I get it. Like, I understand what's going on. And I think a good way to do L's character is to have that kind of bear trap where he, like, does all of this stuff. You're
I'm
like,
gonna
why is he
build on
doing all
that.
this shit?
Because I was thinking about different media to portray it in, and the movies have been done. The movies have been done. Like, they've been made, they're
Yeah.
great, I have them all on DVD. They've been done. So I was thinking, not to mention I've been, like, binging Nightmind all day, they should have brought it to a different format entirely. Like, I was thinking more of the lines of, take the mystery aspect of it and let's broaden it. Have the character of L reaching out to an audience, say via the internet, something like that, and being like, this is the mystery, there's a serial killer. The thing about Death Note is we already know who the serial killer is.
Yeah.
Because that's what we introduced with that one. And I don't think it would work if you have, like, this guy who's just like, I'm killing people, and he's, like, talking on the internet.
Right.
There was one that did that, but the issue is that with the character of Kira, it's a mystery. Like, the police don't know who it is, but with this, you could just be like, oh, it's just this guy. Like,
Yeah,
we know who
I
he
wonder
is.
at what point, like, someone would be reading and be like, oh, it's Death Note. And people would be like, oh, okay, I get it. Like, and then
Yeah.
it'd be over right there.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, like, if they're just translating it to this, they could change up the mystery, but we could instead focus on the character of L, who's supposed to be a worldwide known detective.
Yeah.
I think if I had to give like a premise, an idea for what a movie for Death Note could have been, is one wherein Death Note, the anime / manga, already happened. So let's say, the anime happens, fast forward like 20 years, or whatever amount of time, right? So things have calmed down, no more random mysterious murders. And then if you wanted to do it in America, that's fine. And what it is that, Ryuk shows up again, gives a Death Note to some American kid, and the idea is that, like, the Legend of Light sort of existed on the internet, and it got spread around. And this kid starts doing stuff, and we explore what...
Tribute bands.
Just like what would having the Death Note here in the U.S. actually mean, rather than just trying to force what Death Note is into America, actually give... So, like, there's a legend, right? Light did a bunch of stuff, and it's sort of garbled, because if I remember correctly, at the end of Death Note, Light gets away. He dies, but he gets away, right? Like, he gets shot up, and he, like, crawls to, like, some, like, catwalk or something, and that's where he dies.
Because Ryuk killed him.
Right, but it would have been cool if, the cops think, oh, he's dead, right?
Yeah.
And then murders start happening that are reminiscent of what the Death Note was. So, like, the Japanese government or the Japanese police force sends information over to the U.S. and it's like, so, like, these are the MO of, like, this one particular person, and then it gets, like, spread out again, and how, like, media has, social media has blown up. So there's a lot of people who are, like, kind of like in Persona 5, like, there's a lot of people who are, like, pro this new
Pro
light
this guy,
or
yeah.
old light or whatever, and a lot of people are saying, like, oh man, yes, finally bad people are getting what they deserve from
Yeah.
all these other people.
I also,
So I'm like, fuck
I
no,
also
this is
think
fucking
too,
awful.
just kind of feeding it off of that. Like, we live in, like, there's a really particular time frame that we live in, where having the ability to just kill somebody, like, is something that would be very, like, that is very politically valued, especially if it could not be traced back.
Yeah.
And, like, you have to think, like, as an American, what are the people that I would be most interested in killing off? And I think you could even take that to, like, you could take that to, like, an exploration of, like,
I'm gonna...
Western domination.
I think I could build on that even more, because, like, the FBI, like, statistics says there's at least I'm gonna say 20, but it might have been about 40 serial killers working in the U.S. that
Right
you
now?
know, yeah,
Okay.
because
At
we're such
any
a
given
large,
moment, yeah.
we're just such a large country. The reason Death Note works so well, and that's one reason I'm like really unhappy with this set, the way they're just taking the story and putting it in America, is the reason it was set in Japan was because the stuff that L does to like narrow down the location that Kira is in, it only works because Japan is small.
Right.
It's small and clustered, so they, you know how they just like did sections of stuff to like figure it
Right.
out. That's the reason it works. In the U.S., we're massive.
Yeah.
We get people who think they can drive across country and die in the process.
Yeah, I think
Oregon Trail.
it's really fun too. I mean, if you
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Right. Like because we're so large, like maybe Death Note just doesn't work. Period. Like you can get like a small town where shit starts happening, but that sort of gets cleaned up, close the book, and then no one cares.
yeah, I think I think that you have
Frames
to like
dropping.
oh yeah.
Refresh.
I think you really have to like redefine like the
Oh, it worked
traps.
again.
Okay.
Like probably the way to do it is like, okay, where did the death start? Because the first thing I think you would target, you know, your first mistake as someone having this thing would be like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna kill
Someone
like,
close to me.
yeah, I'm gonna kill like Stewie Stevens, who gave me a fleshie once when I was in the 4th grade, and it has ruined my life.
Yeah.
And you know you make him die by, you know, you do something ironic like death by being
by
stuck in
ants.
toilet.
As I think about it,
Death by what?
Death by an ant.
the more and more that we like talk about it, the more and more I realize I don't think Death Note was a good movie to try and put in the U.S.
No.
because like in Japan, right? Rachel's right. The idea is like you're clustered. There's so many people. Like you can get back and forth between the country in like no time, and
Well,
there's like a power thing, right? Everyone's trying to get to like a better place. Everyone's like a businessman. Everyone's trying to get to a place of better status. So there's just like pressure where like the person next to you is sort of your competition. Here,
Right.
while that's sort of true, like there's also like American Dream, all this stuff about.
Well, I guess the only way Death Note works in that case is you aren't kill the person who has it isn't the person's like out for justice. Is he's just a psychopath serial killer who kills people because he knows their names.
Yeah.
That's the only way, because it's so massive. You have to increase the scale. Fucking Nebraska died. What happens?
Like all of Nebraska.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing with
I
like
wonder if you could just write Nebraska and like this state just like falls.
Half of all the porn stars died.
it just like falls into the ocean, never to be seen again. Well, the other part of like
Night,
the
Koro.
Japanese aspect, good night, Koro,
Take care, Koro.
is
but-
like even like the name Kira is based off of something. It's the English word for killer,
Yeah.
into Kira.
I always thought that was kind of like, it's like Gojira turns to Godzilla, and
Yeah.
it kind of sounds like it kind of sounds like super Americanized, but no, that was the choice of,
Yeah.
of that.
Well, they
that's what
took
he's
it
called.
from English. The other thing was like Light is portrayed as like a model Japanese citizen.
Yeah.
He's not a model anything else. He's a model Japanese citizen. Even the family dynamic, as I explained, I think before, just like off topic, we were talking about something. The family dynamic is also portrayed as a model Japanese family. The dad is like
Are you saying
almost never home.
Death Note is like Japanese propaganda.
No, I'm saying
The
it's
nuclear
so
family commercials.
it's soaked in that Japanese juices.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is like the family dynamic is like very similar. The dad is almost never home because he's working.
Yeah.
He like sleeps at the thing. The mother is like caring, but she's not like, I need to go see what my son's up to. He's studying. I'm gonna leave him. He has to get into a good college. She refers to her husband as Anata, which is probably the only word in Japanese that like means something like deer or honey, and it's like
Yeah.
means something. Like with Light, he's like very smart, but he's still ambitious. He's like, I gotta follow this track. I gotta do this. I gotta do that, because there's like so much pressure put on the young generation to like just follow people. There's points where
Not even metaphorically, but like literally just trail behind people
Yeah.
while they walk.
Yeah, just like go right behind them. You gotta do it.
And breathe.
His name, Light, is actually, I think, reflective of that. He was supposed to be the family's quote unquote light.
Sure.
Yeah, so they just named him that, which is
Yeah.
Well, I guess he has a real name, which is like
Raito.
Raito. Yeah.
But you know, if I had to talk about good media for a second, I just finished Ozark yesterday
Yeah.
on Jeremy's recommendation. and it's really, really good.
Help me out with that.
Ozark. It's the new Netflix show that stars Jason Bateman. He's like a money launderer.
I'm gonna look it up because I want to see it.
It's
I don't know anything about that.
yeah, it's like new. It came out like 2 weeks ago or something. But premise basically is Jason Bateman's character. He's a dad. He's got like a wife and 2 kids, and he runs like an investment firm with his friend, right? And the idea is that it's based in Chicago, which is supposed to be
All I know is this
a
kid's
big
face
place.
is terrifying.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a big place where like there's a lot of drug stuff going on,
Mm-hmm.
and
Here's
his
a-
investment company.
Here's a rundown.
Yeah, I guess I'll read this one.
You want
Yeah, from Google. Is a drama series starring Jason Bateman as Marty Bird, a financial planner who relocates his family from Chicago to a summer resort community in the Ozarks, which is in Missouri. With wife Wendy and their 2 kids in tow, Marty is on the move after a money laundering scheme goes wrong, forcing him to pay off his substantial debt to a Mexican drug lord in order to keep his family safe. While the Bird's fate hangs in the balance, the dire circumstances force the fractured family to reconnect. And the first episode is like fucking crazy. It was a really good first episode.
Yeah.
I don't particularly like Jason Bateman in things that aren't funny because I think he's really funny in funny stuff, like Arrested Development and stuff like that. But I really enjoy the show. I think it's a little busy. I watched it's 10 episodes and each episode's like an hour long, and it was sort of exhausting. I
Yeah.
think there was a lot of threads that around episode 4 and 5, it felt like there was a lot of shit going on that didn't matter.
I think there's an analog too to kind of the genre of show that you're pointing out, which
Yeah.
is like Breaking Bad. I think something that everyone's kind of experienced, which is the same. I feel like not gothic, but has the same kind of like underlying source of tension, which is, oh, are we going to get caught? Like, does our family know what we're doing? Are we trying to keep our lives separate? And one of the things that I think, just to bring it back to Death Note real quick, Death Note seems like a show that does that, but does it with supernatural elements versus like real life elements, and in a way that almost kind of like makes it un-American serializable.
Yeah.
Like Breaking Bad works because it's meth.
Yeah.
Like that, the meth in it just really just sells the
I just
show.
think like I don't think you could do something like Breaking Bad in Japan. I think if Japan tried to do Japanese Breaking Bad, it'd be fucking terrible.
Yeah.
So it's known we have drugs, they have ghosts. Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like what would they do, right? The Yakuza are doing like a drug ring, like it doesn't work. It's not the same. A businessman tries to make meth in his basement, like it doesn't work.
Well,
All the apartments are super small.
Well, it's funny
the
because-
city's really fucking big, or what? You're in the country and it's
in,
like
in Canada,
shitty?
there's a joke about how like, oh well, if if Breaking Bad is set in Canada, he gets cancer and he goes and gets cancer treatment
Yeah.
because
Chemo starts tomorrow. End of show.
yeah, I mean, to tell you, I absolutely like the entire show. I was like gritting my teeth because I personally, I really just can't stand like the idea of infidelity really pisses me off. And I was a little sad that the intro into like Marty's struggles, the character from Ozark,
yeah.
is that his wife is cheating on him. Like it opens with him in his office, and he's like talking to a couple, right? And they're like, oh, we kind of want to invest in something, like our money, whatever. And he gets an email from someone, you don't know who. It says like, don't open this at work. And he opens it, and it's a video of what you find out is later his wife having sex with some other guy, right? And he's just
Way
like,
to Chris, pound on the spoiler gas.
it's literally the first 5 minutes.
God, you've ruined the whole show for
Now I wanna
everyone.
watch it.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's
Yakuza are like
watching it, and
corporate
he's
meth
like
dealers.
engrossed in it, and he's like, like he's
He jerks
pissed.
to it real quick.
Oh yeah, of course. He's pissed, but in like that silent kind of like I knew it, like I'm validated now, and this is like fucking ridiculous. I hate this.
Yeah.
Then his
I was already angry about it before.
yeah, his coworker steps in and like, hey man, like we gotta go somewhere, and he's like, what? And, like he snaps back out of it, and then it's like it pisses me off, and like the wife is really portrayed as someone sort of shitty. It later goes into depth as to like what brought them to that point, but it's still like
She's still shitty.
at the end of the series, I feel like they wind up glossing over like all the shit that she does, and like the family sort of reunites and everything's sort of okay, but it's still like super shitty.
Yeah.
Right? Because what puts them in the position where they're laundering money for a cartel wasn't like, it was like the guy was trying to provide for his family. And it's like
Well,
that argument was like, oh, you were emotionally distant. Like, oh my god, fuck.
Well,
you.
I mean that stuff. That stuff happens all the time. Where you
I
get-
know. I get it. I know that it
that's
happens.
that's just how you set up these shows. Is you you can't make the dude be like, I just want to get rich so I can buy.
No,
a
I
hot
know,
tub
but I'm
and
also
fuck
frustrated
bitches.
that that's what they
And
do
then,
with
like,
the
you know-
with like the husband too, which is like, oh, I was just trying to provide for my family. Like, fuck you, dude.
Can I make a side comment that there's like a whole genre of Japanese porn that's just wife cheating on husband because he's emotionally distant?
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, that happens in us too.
In the us. Okay.
It's just like I'm justified
I thought
because
you
you
were
won't fuck
accusing
me.
me. Oh, but a good point is brought. Like Breaking Bad was the same way. It had that little like infidelity thing, but if I'm not mistaken, it took place like later on. It didn't like, hey, by the way, off the bat, cheating on
Yeah.
him.
Well, Breaking Bad, does this incredible thing where you get to see a functional family, like a mostly functional family, break down, and that they start off
They
believable.
break bad.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh.
he's straight up like replacing his son.
Yeah.
With
Meth,
Jesse.
yeah,
with
with-
Meth. With Jesse.
Who is literally just meth manifest into a person. He is a meth golem
Yeah,
in the Jewish
bitch.
culture.
Yeah, bitch.
Hey, Dad, do you wanna feel good all the time and also have your teeth fall out?
And then
And he starts like licking his hand.
The only thing he needed to do was cripple Jesse's legs.
Wow. This is getting tragic.
Something really tragic.
The son wasn't functional. Oh, Teddy.
Oh.
It's like the Duracell bunny if they didn't have arms. It's just like, what do you do now?
Do we want to continue on this topic?
Well, yeah, I mean, so we're about to hit the 9 p.m. mark, right? Which,
So I guess
We
the
started at like 8:10 though, right?
yeah, but, I mean we can keep going, but
Yeah, for
we
sure.
can wrap this point and say like
Yeah, let's talk about
Death
something
Note was
else.
bad.
You should
Watch
watch
it if you
it.
want to see
Yeah.
something super shitty.
I'm probably still gonna watch it.
Ozark's
Yeah.
pretty good if you need a show to watch. It's heavy. You're gonna feel kind of shitty at the end of it and exhausted.
I
but
do
it's
really
fun to watch.
quickly want to bring up like there are many ways to take this like person trying to provide for their family. I just finished Atlanta, and Atlanta is like funny and also kind of sad. Like there's moments in Atlanta you're like this fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Especially like we're not the most financially stable people. Atlanta like really drives a nail into the feeling of like, oh, we're like shitty people because
Yeah.
we're poor. And it does a really good job of just exploring that topic and also like being also entertaining. Breaking Bad I have trouble watching for. It's the same thing with like Trailer Park Boys where it is funny, but it also feels like
I feel a little bad.
I've like, oh, like this is actually someone's life.
Yeah.
Now,
I-
now I feel bad.
It's hard to. I found the only way I can watch those kind of shows or movies is if I'm just as miserable, like on a plane.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Like I watched Revenant on a plane because I'm already miserable. I can watch this and just feel just as bad.
Which one's that one?
That's the
Bear Attack.
Leonardo DiCaprio
Right.
movie where he fucked a bear. Anyway,
It's like
Oh
that's.
god, Revenant was a fucking like.
It was exhausting.
Yeah.
Emotionally, I couldn't get out of my seat.
well, why do you think people watch movies like that?
It was
It
a
looked
hard to
better.
watch.
No, wait.
You think it was just hype?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
like
I
the
saw
whole
the
movie
trailer and I
is.
was like,
Oh my god! This
Leonardo
is
And I was
DiCaprio.
like-
That scene where he's like on the river and he has to cauterize his wound with gunpowder is fucking awful.
You know what's worse though than being on a plane and watching that? So I went to go.
being mid-coitus and watching it.
I went to go see the new Tarantino
Fuck that
movie.
bear.
Which one?
Fuck that.
The one
Hateful Eight?
with forced blowjob.
Forced blowjob. That was not Hateful Eight.
That was wait, was it Hateful Eight? No. Was it Hateful Eight?
Was it Tarantino movie The Forced Blowjob? I mean,
Forced blowjob.
The movie feels like a forced blowjob. There is a forced blowjob. I don't understand. It could be
No, it
either
is
of
Hateful Eight.
those.
So I went to go see the Hateful Eight with my mother.
No spoilers,
Okay.
please.
And-
Does it have forced blowjob?
Yes, it
I don't
does.
quite remember. Oh yes. Never mind.
Okay. So not only that, but this is one like super gory, and my mom's like not a fan of this thing. Like I told her before going in there, Mom, this isn't the type of movie you want to see.
so you warned her and she was like, oh no, honey, I want to do it for you.
Well, no. So I was going with my boyfriend at that time, and then I threw an invite to my dad, because he likes Tarantino.
Okay.
But I was like, Mom, you do not want to see this movie. Like,
And
let
she
me.
was like, no, I want to tear into Tino.
Basically, she just wanted to go with us so she wasn't feeling left out, which
Okay.
I can understand. But I was like, I even offered her like, Mom, I'll take you to a movie tomorrow. Just don't go see
Not
this
this
movie
one.
with us. She's like, all right, I'm going. And the whole time I was just like, I can't enjoy this because my mom is like watching this.
That movie also.
Rachel, that's so. Why would they do that? I don't understand.
That was her right after the movie. She's like, what? Why did that happen?
I
don't-
love, you know, not, I want to.
I do feel bad for her, right? But it was like self-inflicted.
For like spoiler reasons, I will say that movie has one of the best like repeat routing jokes I've
Oh,
ever
really?
heard. It's got like there's a bit where like the door doesn't stay closed.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
so good. It's so good.
And it's not
It's no
spoilery.
spoilers.
Yeah,
It's
it's just something that like in the movie is like hilarious. Literally from the time they start doing the joke to the last time they execute the joke, and it was like it's of all the stuff in that movie. There's like a lot of setup for this you know the movie's all about setup.
Yeah.
That joke is the only thing that stands out in my mind when I think of that movie. I think of like Pulp Fiction. There's like the GIMP scene that I really like, and then the
Of course you like that scene.
it's really fun. Like I think that whole bit of the movie is like everything up to that point is like lofty,
Yeah.
and is like, you know, like oh you've got a pouch. Look how artsy we are, and you know
It was really hard to watch that scene. I was like, I don't want to see this.
yeah.
But I'm invested now. It's like
Now-
3/4 of the way, 2/3 of the way in the movie. Like,
The
I
a
don't want
couple
this
of
to happen.
scenes in Hateful Eight, like the reason I like Tarantino is because his gore scenes are so over the top that it's not realistic for me. There's a couple times that were like too realistic, and I can't watch those because they get stuck in my head.
Where's the line? Is it like, you know, there's like gallons of blood? You're like, okay, this is cool.
Well, like
there's
in,
like a quart of blood.
in Pulp
yeah.
Fiction, in the scene where he shoots the guy in the back of the head, that blood's almost pink.
Yeah.
So it's like it's fine. My dad and I had the same problem. I have never watched the movie Tusk.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
I heard
I
that
can't do
you really
spo-
shouldn't.
I can't watch body horror. I was curious about it because I was reading something, so I watched a clip of it. I couldn't sleep for 3 days because it was like in my head. It was like the only thing I
Is
could
this
think
the
about.
Kevin Smith movie?
It's a Kevin Smith movie where
Tusk is awesome. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love Tusk,
Yeah,
dude.
I can't watch it.
Tusk is banging.
I read the description for it, so I know how the movie goes, but I can't watch body horror.
There's, you know, so who's the guy that plays? I always forget his name. The guy who plays Jack Sparrow.
He's
oh, Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp's character, when he was talking about like when he was doing the movie, he was like, I just want like a dick somewhere on my face. So they intentionally gave him a penis nose, and he was like bigger. And so they just gave him like this really big dick nose. It's really funny. Tusk is a cool movie. I
you know
love
the
Kevin
whole
Smith as a
reason
director.
that movie happened was because Kevin Smith got high.
Oh, I mean,
So he met
every movie.
Who's that guy? Who's that guy that just like gets high in every movie? And he made Sausage Party.
Oh,
Seth
Seth
Rogen.
Rogen.
So he met Seth Rogen.
Why do you say it
on-
like that?
Because Sausage Party really disappointed me.
Yeah,
I didn't laugh a single time.
I think that was the point of the movie.
This is interesting because I haven't seen Sausage Party, but we've seen a movie that we didn't laugh the entire time.
Which one?
Meet the Spartans. I don't know why we chose to watch that, but it's what me, you, and another friend of ours chose to watch that day, and we watched the entire thing for some godforsaken reason. Better or worse, or disappointing factor of Meet the Spartans.
I don't know, because Meet the Spartans, because it was so unfunny, I like blinked. I actually can't think of a single joke.
No, the jokes I remember, we were comparing it to something about Naruto because we were funnier than the fucking movie.
I watched
It was
I watched
it was
Sausage
bad.
Party.
No, Sausage Party I
was
think
it?
is worse because it tried
Skippable.
really hard to be funny. Like it's just
It was. It,
I can't-
It
you
had
know-
funny moments where
no.
like he would.
The douche was fucking off the whole movie. I ate too. Right, I started the movie. and was like, I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna have a couple laughs. It's not gonna be great, but I'm gonna have a chuckle.
You know what we should do,
I finished
right?
eating. I'm like, this movie's
We
terrible.
should have a movie night.
Yeah, we should have a movie night. We should watch the Emoji Movie followed by Sausage Party.
Can we watch
and see which experience makes us more
Can we watch
sick.
The Room?
No, we
Anais
can't.
hasn't seen The
This
Room.
is the end was
Neither
way
have
funnier.
I.
This is
Oh, yeah.
This is the end was
Wait, can
really
we watch
really
The
funny.
Disaster Artist then?
I mean, yeah, we can. I also, you know, I would really like to do a Room movie night. The only downside with that movie is that it's like I have to space it out because I've done it so much now. You know, shitty movie nights.
You know how
used
you
to be
improve
my
watching The Room
forte.
now? You give everybody a bowl of spoons.
Yeah,
and every
you
time
throw it,
every
yeah.
time the spoons show up, you throw it.
No, that's a required component of that movie for
We
me.
didn't do that on my 60th
Yeah,
birthday.
group watching a movie would be pretty dope.
Yeah, especially just like the room itself is so.
It's great.
It's an experience. It's not one that I would suggest.
Oh, by the way, so the director, you know,
So Tommy Wiseau, yeah.
So he went on record. Someone was asking if her mother survives her breast cancer. She does.
Yeah,
She survives
that's
her
good. I'm really happy that that gets brought up a second time.
breast- I know, right?
Okay, so to wrap up, Death Note sucks,
Watch it.
but watch it, I guess.
It's. I mean, if you have Netflix, you might as well, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you
It's there.
want to re-experience Death Note, this is a way to do it, and I'm gonna watch it for the
We're
first
like,
time.
oh, for whatever.
Read the
how
manga.
many attempts we've tried to bring Japanese stuff into film here in the
And
U.S.
Ghost in the Shell was pretty good.
I really loved the Ghost in the Shell movie.
I know. We watched it twice. Is how good it was, right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
All right, ready?
All right,
All right,
guys,
do the thing.
Yeah. Thank you for coming to the Skill Floor podcast. This is going to be end of the live component you get to watch while it's on YouTube. So if you are watching this on YouTube, you're like, hey, wow, look at that Shaggy guy. I want to see more of him. The best place to do that is live from 8 to 10 p.m. on Saturdays. We'd love to see you there, and it's always a great time because there's more show after this. Anyway, thank you for coming. Collab Sync.
1, 2, 3. Sick.
That was
Go
a good
team.
one.
It's 3, 2, 1. Clap, sync, Brian.
So I saw I was at the watching your stream last week. 'Cause
Yeah.
I couldn't make it, so I figured I'd watch it.
Yeah.
And after the clap sync, I heard Rachel say something about.
We need Phil here.
And then like it just cut off. The audio cut off, and I was like, "No, what were you
Oh,
gonna
so,
say?"
I said I wish Phil was here to not clap sync, and then one of the people we brought up kicked the soundboard.
Ah, dang it!
It was a
That's
real
funny.
bummer. But
You know,
yeah,
the
go
other
ahead.
thing that I watched yesterday because I was so emotionally distraught over Ozark is I watched the third and final season of something called The Increasingly Poor Decisions of
Todd and Margaret.
It's
That
really, really
show
funny.
is fucking hilarious. I
If
love.
you haven't seen it, I strongly
I've never
recommend it.
even heard of this
It's-
show.
It's David Cross being the worst person. every season starts with him in court, and they're just listing all of the shit that he's done. And the show, like anyway, it's amazing.
really,
I
really
love
funny.
Increasingly Poor Decisions
It's
with
only
Todd Margaret.
18 episodes, and it's really, really
Is
funny.
it on Netflix?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
really, really funny. The first season is great. The second season continues it, and the third season is like totally different, and it's so good.
It's hard to. It's one of those shows that is hard to watch.
It is
I
because
can't do it. Like there's, especially like the first episode, right? There's that.
it's in the name. The increasingly important, like things keep escalating, and you're just like, stop, stop.
Hard to watch the like,
Please.
because like I love Louis C.K. I cannot watch the Louis TV show
Really?
because just
It's
bad
exactly
shit happens.
It's exactly like
and I
that. But
can't
it's David
handle
Cross,
it.
so it's really funny.
I'm actually the same way. I can't watch
It's
the.
ridiculous, so it's
Yeah.
it's okay.
I
Louis
agree. I
Louis has the difference where the struggle is that it's things that could actually happen.
It's very real.
Yeah.
This one's
And that's what
very
gets to
not
me.
okay,
But
not real.
Louis is also super vanilla, where like the stuff that happens in Louis is like, oh, like the bus sucks, or like, oh,
Oh.
I tried weed for the
I
first
gotta
time.
bring
I'm,
fried
I'm
chicken.
actually from like David Cross is getting stopped by like the TSA. So like, oh, I'm actually from Britain. Yeah, I'm from Leeds. Yeah, me and my dad. Oh, but my dad's dead. Yeah, but he's dead. But I'm from Leeds, and yeah, we used to eat fish and chips all the time. And yeah, so to wrap up, my dad is dead. I'm from Leeds. We used to watch The Who every Saturday. It's just like. Stop talking. You were okay the first.
Okay.
It just keeps talking, and it's just like stop.
I
Please.
might be able to do that thing.
I don't know. I
It's
can't
good.
watch It's Always Sunny.
God.
No, that's what I've
You
heard
can't
about.
watch- so-
the difference, what a friend of mine says he can't watch Always Sunny because he feels bad for them. The difference between Always Sunny and Louis is the people in Always Sunny fucking deserted.
I know. No, the thing is like
I
have
disagree. I think Mac is an angel.
He wants to be. Charlie's the only person that maybe doesn't, but
It's because he's stupid.
Well, Dennis is secretly a serial killer.
He's the best.
Dennis?
Yeah.
So my thing is that like it's not that I think they don't deserve it. It's that when I see something, I'm trying to think. It's like I have an overactive sense of empathy,
yeah.
and but it's like it's not that I think that they don't deserve it. It's like when I see something, I'm just like, ugh, that's just physically painful for me.
Listen, they're shitty people, right? But they're not shitty people because they want to be shitty people. They're just shitty people because that's the only way they know how to do anything.
Like
Right.
Always Sunny.
Yeah,
I've read a lot about it, like, and I always like keep telling myself I should really go back.
it's really funny.
Well, at the very you have to watch like the beautiful episodes, like Charlie Work, or I forget which one what it's called, but it's the one where they all imagine what they would do to
That
stop a
was
robbery.
so
Gang
fucking
saves the
funny.
day.
Yeah, the gang saves the day. It's the best one is Frank's.
Shut
but
the deck up, Getch.
hot
Mac is
dogs.
not an angel.
No, the Mac one was pretty good.
The Mac
Yeah.
one was pretty great.
I've
And
seen
then not getting puns.
I showed you the animated version of the thing where they're like talking about the
Yeah, I've seen that before.
the HR thing. Carol, I love that scene because
That's a
I
good
just
scene.
discovered that animated thing. I was like, I really need to watch this show. And then I've been reading like the Dennis is a serial killer theory. The whole reason the gangs acts like that is because there's secretly a carbon monoxide leak that they actually in like one of the later seasons
not
is confirmed.
secretly.
No,
It's
no,
confirmed.
that's Charlie work. That
Yeah.
they actually totally confirmed that in the episode Charlie work.
Is that the
Oh,
one where
Charlie
he,
Work
like,
is the best episode, hands down.
No, it is.
It once it transitions to a single camera where it's a non-stop like
Yeah, is that the bit you showed me
Yeah,
where
they
like
they-
Charlie is like solving all of
It's
the inspection
fucking
problems?
magical.
So good.
At this time, I need you to make this noise. Yeah.
No, now, here's the deal. This is something I found disappointing about Always Sunny. It's filmed in LA.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was originally about writers who were just really shitty people, and they were like, "There's 100 shows." I mean, look at New Girl.
Yeah.
They were like, let's make it about something
Let's
different.
make it about an advertising guy or someone who does architecture.
Oh my god, the episode where Charlie and Mac and Dennis moved to the suburbs
Yeah,
was
I haven't seen that
fucking
one.
so good.
it was so good.
So apparently there's like the smoke detector or something's been going off like the entire time they've been there. And Matt keeps asking Dennis like, "Don't you hear that? Hear what?" Like it's going off. And at the end, right when they're about to kill each other, literally Dennis has like a fire poker in his hand. Newsflash, asshole! I've been hearing it the entire fucking time.
Seriously, watch Adaptation. It stars
fucking
Nicolas
good.
Cage as a screenwriter and Nicolas Cage as his twin brother.
Oh, it sounds amazing. Sounds like the best movie ever.
I mean, if they switch
Adaptation
faces and then
sounds
go
like
steal
gold.
the American independence, it
Yeah.
sounds
Do you guys know why
Declaration
Nicolas
of
Cage
Independence.
started
God.
just, like starring in like every movie ever at that
He's
point?
poor.
Oh,
like,
he's poor. He
super
lost a
wrapped
lot
in
of
debt.
money.
No,
Really?
yeah, the
Yeah.
reason for that though
Is
is
it because
because
he
he like
funded
bought
Ghost Rider
a
2?
dinosaur. He
Oh,
like
like he was
bought
in.
a dinosaur.
That dinosaur better be live if it makes you broke. Like, you better be able to fucking ride
No,
that.
it was
okay.
just like an entire dinosaur like fossil, and
Nick
they were
Cage
like,
also owns a tomb in Louisiana where it says, and I quote, "Here lies Nicolas Cage, if he ever dies."
I want this to be true so badly.
It is no, it's like there's like a pyramid in like a graveyard in Louisiana where it's like,
Well,
if Nick Cage ever
yeah.
dies, here he
Well,
rests.
Fucking
I mean,
fact check.
I mean, what you should do, right, is like, if you put like a Horcrux down there, and then Nicolas Cage just lives forever, and that's just the secret. You put like, I don't know.
Oh no, it autocorrects tomb. Oh my.
what is that autocorrect tomb to?
It's a tomb. Like I got. Cage has purchased an unnamed tomb in the city of St. Louis Cemetery. Oh my god, this is all true.
It's Nick Cage. Like you can make up anything you want
I
about
would-
Nick Cage, and it's true.
I would make a face-off tomb, where I would
John
like,
Travolta.
yeah.
Do you know they spent a lot of money in the Ghost Rider movies, putting special effects over Nicolas Cage's arm because he has a tattoo of Ghost Rider?
Oh, weird.
Really?
Yeah.
That's actually really funny.
That would have been really
Did
cool.
Nicolas Cage like when
Just keep-
when he like looks in the mirror every day? Is he like you?
He
would
wakes up, he
play
slaps himself a
such
little bit,
good-
and he recites the alphabet to himself.
No, that's
A B C. I would be a
wants
great
to-
Ghost Rider.
he wants to be Ghost Rider. That's why he got
And
like the last
Superman.
two funded.
Yeah.
He wanted to be Ghost Rider.
I think that works though, but like not with Nicolas Cage, because the Deadpool movie is a product of what's his donger really wanting
Ryan Reynolds.
Brian Reynolds really
to
wanting
know you're
a Deadpool movie, and it works.
Well, it doesn't mean they based Deadpool off of Ryan Reynolds, who wanted to be Deadpool. So there's a reference in the Deadpool comics where it's like if Ryan Reynolds can do it, I could fucking do it. So he's like, no, I'm Ryan Reynolds. Check your list. And but Deadpool works that way because he's like fourth wall breaking.
Yeah.
The Deadpool movie wasn't bad.
No, I really liked it. I watched it in Mexico though. It was in English, but it was still.
They didn't
in
get
Mexico.
the same 5 voice actors they do
In
for
order to
everything.
get into the Ghost Rider role, he bought actual Egyptian artifacts and put them in his pocket.
No, he was just in line with Hobby Lobby, but instead of Islamic artifacts, he just grabbed Egyptian ones
boy.
instead. But he was actually working for Hobby Lobby, so he went in there and he's like,
I
"You
hope
got the
they
wrong
do.
one."
I
National
really,
Treasure
I
3.
really want one day to be able to talk to my younger self, so I can say something like,
Buy
yeah,
Bitcoins?
and then yeah, buy Bitcoin.
One. All you need is one.
Yeah, but also
Don't buy a pizza.
I would love to be able to say to younger me, like if I like walked up on the street, I like pull my trench coat aside, he sees my dick, and I'm like, you know it's me. And then I'm
Why am I
like,
leaning to the right?
This little curve.
There was an accident about 5 years from now.
And then I'm
Don't
like-
worry, you'll live.
I'm like, yeah. So in the future, Hobby Lobby's gonna be caught inside of an artifact embezzling ring with Islamic artifacts, and younger me's gonna be like, what the fuck?
That was my reaction when I first heard about that.
And the Chargers are moving to LA. It's just like I would just say like 3 things, and he'd be like, no way.
Fuck you,
Can
old
I-
kids.
Can I
You lying
talk
piece of
about
shit.
can I talk about something? Because I've been like binge watching Nightmind like all day.
Sure.
So are you guys aware of the pop star Poppy?
No.
No.
There's no pop star named Poppy.
There is a pop star named Poppy.
Like, is it PAPI?
It's
Like Mexi-
It's Poppy.
Okay.
How does he split the work between pop stars
She-
and being in League of Legends at the same time?
Oh wow, what a joke!
Yeah.
Incredible,
That's a
Joe.
joke, I got it.
Amazing.
So the reason is like
I'm not sorry.
I saw her I saw a couple of kids in my store like playing her music videos, and so that's why I like knew about it, and I was like, why is this pop star on Nightmind? Because Nightmind delves into like ARGs and like lore behind things, and I was like, why the fuck is a pop star on Nightmind? And so I opened it up, and it fucking blew my mind, man. Like, I was like, holy shit. So, Poppy is a pop star. Like, she releases music. She has her own Vivo, like, verified Vivo and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But she's not a person. She's an art installation that a dude named Titanic Sinclair created.
His name is Titanic Sinclair.
I believe he's also an art installation. But,
What is an art installation?
So
Listen,
you
so
know what like
literally
Shia LaBeouf
anything you
did, where he
want.
like put a bag over his head and like sat down like insulted people for like 2 hours? That's an art installation.
It's just okay. You
Anything
are
is
my
a-
art installation because I say so.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah,
Cool.
I think Phil not clapping during the clap syncs is an art installation.
Yeah.
Rob Schraub doing the like the is there a link thing on Twitter is an art installation.
So, but just like she's actually an
That's an art installation.
right there.
Bam.
That's an art installation. You
Yeah.
can call anything an art installation. The dumb Starbucks was an art installation.
Oh, that was good though.
That was fan. So Poppy itself is actually it's him talking about like how we view celebrities. So there's a theory going around about Project Monarch, Project M, which is brainwashing.
That sounds like a Venture Brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
The
Well-
Monarch.
Basically what it is, so there's like this whole theory that like certain celebrities are like brought into Hollywood and are like brainwashed to be like perfect celebrities, and they're also brought up as like the
So-
pedophile ring thing.
South Park?
You mean this like? So I know what you're trying to get at, like the cycle of like we build people up and then tear them down.
No. There's a show that did that. There's a show that did that. That Hollywood is really just like made up of people who are like robots
No, they're not. She's not a robot.
and they can't
She's-
drink milk. I think it is South Park.
Might have been.
That
South
sounds
Park.
like South Park.
That might have been.
They
South
can't
Park.
drink milk is such an arbitrary restriction.
It wasn't South Park until can't drink milk.
Well, no. So the Poppy thing is like she's still like a real pop star, but she's also like if you. I'm gonna pull up one of her videos real quick just because it's like, what the fuck is
I've never
this?
heard any of her music.
Yeah, I don't know this person at all.
So,
I'm
like I said, the only
expecting, like, a
reason I
Hatsune
knew
Miku
about it
kinda
was
deal.
because of kids in my store. So, like, all her videos are like this. All of her videos. Not that.
Wow.
Not that.
Not the
Not the
end.
end.
Let's just
Not
keep
the end.
talking over the ad so it doesn't get picked up.
Oh my god. Oh my god, it comes out this Thursday. Oh my god. I forgot it wasn't like Halloween where it'd make total sense for some
No,
reason.
it's gonna come out whenever
This is
it
a
damn well
38-second
pleases.
video. But it's like her whole thing.
I like how you're just off screen with your
Can't
phone.
do this anymore. I don't think I can do it anymore. I have to retire.
It's
I
just,
can't go on like this.
she's just like the whitest girl possible in the whitest clothes possible. Just being self-degrading.
Why is there so much pressure?
I hate this. I don't know what this is, but I hate it.
This is every one of her videos.
And it's 4 hours long, right?
It's 38 seconds. But like,
Still, it's creepy.
yeah. So the
It's
thing
really weird.
is like
And,
him
I'm
saying
I'm
like
uncomfortable.
Yeah,
it's
kinda wanna
his
go home and
saying
take a
like
nap.
celebrities like you know the ones that are like prim and proper in front of cameras,
Mm-hmm.
and then like her music is completely different from the persona she has in those videos.
uh-huh.
But I was like watching this and I was like, I don't. I'm
American Dad.
uncomfortable.
I think. Sorry about the
Way to
the milk.
boomerang.
Sorry.
Yeah.
In a place.
Boomerang.
Sorry,
was-
it's killing me.
We're just talking about going back in time. Give your past self that answer to make that not weird.
You gotta go back inside.
Yeah, the timing there was like really like. Did you know how
It's
awkward
because
that was
the
when you
video,
were gonna say it?
the
Or-
video is actually brainwashing and it made you remember.
No.
This whole time, like,
only,
you've
like-
been devoting a module of your brain to that, rather than comedic timing or like good communication or like how to carry a conversation. Dan
American
Harmon.
Dad, and it's one of the episodes where they're spoofing James Bond.
Oh yeah, because they like can't, once they've been changed, they can't drink like milk or milk
yeah.
products.
Okay, yeah, it's American Dad, not South Park.
I remember this one because it was
South
Johnny
Park would
Depp.
have been deeper somehow.
Yeah.
Walmart is you. I
Well,
don't know.
the theory behind, and this is a real theory, like an actual. Oh my god, Illuminati.
Confirmed.
This is your star, Brian, for cracking. the
Yes!
code.
Finally.
You want to
Project
give a
M thing-
speech?
What?
You want to give a trophy? You want to give a speech? Oh,
Nah,
your
I'm
trophy's
good.
gone.
It's
Never
gone.
mind.
gone.
It was your success is finite.
But when I heard it that this was like a real fucking theory, I was like, oh my god, this is ridiculous. So you know how like there's a bunch of celebrities that like start out, they're like cute kids,
Sure.
and then they rise up
Okay,
and suddenly like
this
out of
is
nowhere they're
turning
like
pedophilic
sexual.
very quickly.
Well, there's the theory is, and this is an actual theory that people have come up with, is that these kids are brought in, brainwashed to be like prim and proper, and that the key behind this is like very like prim and proper when they're
Yeah.
being interviewed, and then suddenly there's like this explosion, and suddenly they're like sexual, but also when they have like those crazy major breakdowns, it's either they're fighting against their brainwashing or it's the brainwashers punishing them.
Okay.
Wow, what a world.
And
that-
Macaulay Culkin got away?
Yeah, Macaulay Culkin got away
Alright.
I don't know.
because he wasn't cute anymore.
I think it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
it's just the way to keep printing money out of your fame is to just like go bad.
Remind everyone that you exist.
Yeah, like it's just I think like there's got to be like there's a press person out there who like specializes in child star or like child actors or child artists, and like their playbook is literally like loves Christ and also loves dick, and then that's
Yeah.
that's the transition is like, okay, you're like 17, you love
Well,
Christ.
do you remember like Britney Spears' whole thing for like a good portion of like her career where it was she was a virgin, like that was a whole aspect of her music career.
Wasn't there a song?
Yeah, it was I'm just a girl or I'm not a girl but not yet a woman. That was the whole thing. There was a movie about it.
What a classy line. It was really just selling it. I just noticed that Tobias Fink is just hanging there.
No, that's Buster.
Buster is just hanging there.
Oh yeah, I've been looking at that every time. Like I don't have something to look at. I'm gonna look at the hanging pop figure over there.
Yeah.
No, I've just been like knee deep into crazy internet theories like lately, and I'm just like, why do people believe this? I'm so confused. I'm concerned.
Well, It's-
Listen, if you really want something interesting to like grab hold of your mind and keep you up at night, just think Marianas Trench has AI that are just waiting and just sitting there learning. So Marianas Trench
Is the
is
deepest part of the ocean.
of the web.
oh no, there's actually
There's the dark web, the deep web, and the Marianas Trench.
Okay, you're
is
talking about
the
the
deepest
second one.
part of the web. Yeah.
there's actually an ARG based around that.
Which is stupid. Like, there's, like, well, the internet sure has layers, but, like, it's not like someone is out there, like, running, like, this, like, all it is, like, it's their own private network where they've got, like, AI is running it. Like, that had to be set up by someone. Like, it just doesn't
They've always
make...
existed from Egyptian times.
Yeah, from the...
They built the pyramids to be giant receivers,
Illuminati.
and they've been.
Illuminati.
Broadcast-
Illuminati.
If you fold your money the right way, you get the Marianas Trench of the internet. Yeah, no, of
No,
course.
no, but I'm gonna like swing back to Poppy like real quick just to make a comment. So like, in her very first music video, she's doing the Baphomet pose, like the goat god, like this one. She's doing that. There's like a triangle behind her. Satan is in the video.
Cool. I'm really disappointed that you didn't say Bahaman pose.
Yeah.
I thought you
I was waiting for like a fish
That's-
taco to show up out of nowhere.
That's also what I heard the first time was Baha Man.
Let
Where
the
she
dogs out.
She was just
Excuse
in the
me for
background.
speaking funny.
she was 4 African American men standing side by side.
What was their
EPIO.
That song's about ugly
Who
women.
let the dogs out? Woo.
Oh, I'm
That's
sad
what
now.
that played in the
You know that
background.
song is
I
like
didn't know that. My
if you go to a
childhood
furry
is ruined.
convention, if you go to a furry convention, is that just playing on loop?
It depends. Are there a lot of ugly women at
do
furry
you know?
conventions?
So,
How would you know?
Yeah.
Everyone's in YIF.
So the answer is yes.
I don't know what songs like could you play at a furry convention besides "Who Let the Dogs Out"?
You probably get a lot of like weird like flash music,
Uh,
flash animation music.
Blues
What did the fox say?
That's
what
true.
Fox
what
say?
did the fox say? And then everyone just pulls their dicks out.
I mean, like,
time.
I've met like the obviously there's like the bad part of the furry community, but I've also met like really nice people who are also furries.
No, I think there's a lot of fantastic people in every community. It doesn't change the fact that there's ways to extract, like it's low hanging fruit, and I'm not a giraffe. Like I'm like a bullshit human who has to like reach up and pull off the apple off the bottom because it's all I know. So like I see this group of people, and like as someone who isn't funny, the easy thing for me to do is to be like, yeah, like
Well, like there was this person that I knew in college, and she was a cool person. Like, all right, cool, whatever. It's just in the middle of our conversation, she would stop and draw My Little Pony porn. Just start freehanding it, doing a great job. But it was just really hard to.
Take her seriously.
Yeah, it's just I
Brian's
can't.
face showed so
It's just
many
like-
different emotions
it's
just
just-
now.
Yo, we went to the same college.
No, I know. That's why I'm so conflicted because like in the middle
wonder
of a
if it-
conversation, like hold on, I really need some R&R from our conversation. My R&R is MLP porn.
Well, I wonder too if it's like she thought like you were a cutie. She wanted to get into your pants, and she's like, "This is the test." Like,
Tell me, Joe.
Am I okay with this?
Tell me, Joe. Do you like rainbows more or Apple Jacks? And that's all the prop you get, and you're like,
Rainbows and Applejack.
please, no, don't involve
Or
me.
maybe you like things that are shy and also flutter.
Bam.
you accidentally say you like, "Oh yeah, like I kind of like Apple Jacks," and then immediately you get the biggest like Yif Applejack penis.
Oh yeah, it has to have
Yeah.
dick.
Why do they always have
Super
penis?
veiny.
Like, why is that such
So
like a thing?
veiny. That's the comment that you decided to add in, Phil.
I didn't even hear it. until you said it.
So
You like whispered it. He's like,
veiny. Is
I-
it because it's a horse cock?
So veiny.
The pony have luscious hair, Joe. Oh, dude. Okay, I should say it was My Little Pony. It was also just general like porn in general. It was My Little. One of them, like the first one she ever did, was just a really super ripped guy, kind of like hands behind his mane, and just a horse head.
Just a horse head.
And it was like right where the page border dropped off, like just below the hips. You can see like the little V shape to the
yeah.
abs.
But you didn't get to see the dick.
No,
Did a vein poke out?
You saw the shaft. I'm assuming maybe a quarter of the shaft because I'm
Got it.
assuming it's gonna go way down there. It's a horse.
Yeah.
Quarter shaft is worth the most.
So I knew a kid in
Maybe
high
she was
school.
drawing me. Ah, fuck. I don't know.
I knew a kid in high school that like I was scared of this guy. You might have heard the rumors, Brian, about a kid named Cliff Dennison. No?
Sounds like a superhero,
also,
but
do you
yeah.
mind?
Sounds like a
Do you mind
serial
swapping out the names?
I'm sorry. His name was actually Jiff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Jiffy
way too
Lube.
late, but like,
I'm sorry because
let's not throw people under the bus on
this was a real event that
Twitch
happened.
TV.
But also, I'm so used to referring to him by his full name that it just came out. But there was a dude in my high school, and one time in art class, he was just watching hentai, like, on a computer that we could all see.
Oh yeah, no.
And it was, like, furry hentai.
That stuff. I think that happens more often than we think it does. And this is a really, like, I don't know if this is true. This person was never particularly well liked, but there was a story floating around about how this guy, like, in the middle of like computer lab time, just started watching porn, like surrounded by people, like with the teacher in the room, just like put porn on in the computer lab.
Was his hands above the table?
Yeah.
I think someone at our high school got sent to the principal's office for jacking off in the middle of class. I think.
I remember
that
hearing
happens.
about that, but I don't imagine how it could happen.
No.
Yeah, it was in a math class too, which is strange. I've
Do you
never heard of
remember, like,
math.
what
Trigonometry, yeah. Side
Oh, no,
angle
there's,
side
like-
No,
really
he was,
gets my.
he was gonna guess where the arc of the
Ah.
finish
Yeah.
would go.
There was, like, cases where I've read where, like, kids are, like, cutting holes in their pockets just because they want to, like,
Oh
jack
yeah,
it
no,
in
totally.
class.
I think so. I was in O room in middle school, which was like, it's like in school detention.
You've lost it. It's gone now.
Yeah, it's forever. But it was
This is
in
our
school.
installation.
It was in school detention. I got put in there for fighting.
What were you
Uh,
fighting? You fought? What is
He
wrong
pulled out
with
his
you?
Yu-Gi-Oh deck and
Aw.
he
I
lost.
like the duel
Did you
started
send
and I
him
got
to Shadow
punched.
Realm?
He said he was not. I don't remember what he was, but he was not that.
Was he Asian? Oh, you're good.
The guy, yeah.
My guy also wasn't Asian.
It was
I-
some guy in a math class, and he was not.
Yeah.
My Asian guy pulled out his erection in front of me in physics.
It's-
Well, I mean, not.
You've
pull it
told
out,
me
but
this
yeah.
story too. This story's great.
God, I'm
Yeah.
just ripping off
Basketball
all these
shorts.
low-hanging fruit.
And
This
then
is Teddy.
like started measuring it like right in class. It's like fantastic.
Which is
And
like, I have
it's-
this school-sanctioned ruler. I need to use it to measure myself.
Yeah. How else will I know exactly where it is? Where it's
Continue
stacked
your
up?
O-room
Like,
story,
the
though.
first time you're just
Ketch.
like daydreaming and it was just like just there with basketball shorts. That's really easy to see. Okay.
He like pulled up the leg and it's like hanging out down here.
I feel like you should get shorts that have like dicks printed on it, so it's like he can have it out and no one would know.
It's like it's camouflage. I don't know which one's the real.
You know what must be nice
That
about
was a good
space? You never have to worry about like having
But
pants.
having your dick out?
No, because when you get custom tailored pants, right? The tailor asks you, do you hang left or right? Because they need to know how to make the
Inseam.
Yeah, the
Did we
inseam,
talk
right?
about this?
In space,
I don't know.
You must not need it. That must be nice.
Well, I'm
It's
also
just
thinking,
free
Stuff
like,
just floats.
it's just a question that they didn't ask the guy who was, like, live streaming, like, in the satellite on NASA. Does his bitch float in space?
Probably.
Like,
I mean,
have
the
to
same
know.
way every part of you does. I'm sure.
No, but I mean, like,
In the
are
same
they
way your
like
hair would.
hanging up, like, because your bits are affected by gravity, like when
They're
you're
not
in water, right?
Batman. There's like his genitals aren't like hanging upside down and just decide to like do a flip
So
or
like
whatever.
when you're in water, are they buoyant?
Yes.
Oh,
So
totally.
you
yeah.
gotta-
Well, no, if your legs are spread. Otherwise, your kind of legs are
Yeah.
pushing them in
No,
another
yeah, I know.
direction.
But I mean, like, imagine like you're floating in space. Obviously, your bits are not like hanging where they usually would be.
Mm.
Is it like both the shaft and the balls, or is it just the shaft?
No, that's one member. Especially when you're as collected as I am. Like everything really just sits in one pocket. But there's a
Well, the hole in it, yeah.
yeah, it's nice. It's a good time. You reach in through there, just get yourself a
It
little
took us
action.
a whole hour and 30 minutes to get to dick jokes, though.
Yeah, I'm
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 surprised.
proud of us.
Yeah,
Ripping off the band-aid.
we did good. Yeah,
Next time I'm gonna start with a dick joke. In like 4 months when I come back, I'm gonna say,
Eventually,
"Yeah,
we're
dick
gonna be
joke."
like the Rooster Teeth podcast, where they have a chart of how long it took us to get the dicks.
I
Listen, we got to the after show. I think that's
yeah, that's
we
impressive.
win.
We had a
Premium content.
super on topic podcast, by the way. Like, really just killed it. Do you want high fives? After you know where our dicks have been. Like, this is
Right. Phil?
Sure.
Thank you, Phil.
that counts as a
Okay,
clap
Getch?
sync.
Getch?
I don't.
No.
Getch?
I
Getch?
don't
Getch?
high five.
Getch!
No.
Do
I'm
it with the
host.
board!
If I tell you that you here,
Getch.
Draw a hand on the board and then high five the board.
I will do that.
Sometimes they're melting.
Depends on if your balls are relaxed. Sometimes.
Like right now with the fucking heat.
I know, right? Like, my bits are like sweat.
Internal?
Yes, but they're also sweat. Also, fucking Aeneas is like at your guys' like workplace
yeah.
with AC. That motherfucker.
All
Alright, let me do it.
Hand that's
Let's
saying,
first let's
"Kill
show it
me."
off. Let's show this off if they can see it.
I don't
They,
think
they
they
can. I mean,
Look
But
at
for-
the Getch.
I did it.
Yeah.
You murderer.
All right, Matt. Since you've got perfect, excellent. Thank you.
Do we want to keep going?
the only high fives I
Was
give
your
out of
room class?
the murderous ones. Yeah. So
Yeah, finish the overroom.
So I mean, the punchline here is short. The story is really not all that exciting.
You were in a fight. You go to the principal's office.
So it wasn't
Someone
even
just
like I
jacking
wasn't
off.
even in a fight. I just like there's a dumb game you can play called Body Shots, where you just like hit people on the butt, like you just punch people in the body, and like
I thought it was you
we-
take like a Jello shot off someone's.
Yeah, no, that meaning changed completely when I got to high school.
You're just like,
Um,
oh, buddy, and you punch the stripper in the face, right?
Like let's go.
Wow.
But there was this guy, and we were playing, and I walked out, and we always would play in the bathroom, because it's like there's no one around.
Weird. Beating on guys in the
Were
Were you
bathroom.
guys naked?
No, but the principal was like, "Hey, were you playing Body Shots in there? I'll find out eventually. You should tell me."
Ew.
And like I
Got scared.
Hey, were you were you playing body shots?
Well, yeah.
Were you playing body shots? I didn't know.
She's like fondling herself.
That's
that's
my
even
question. I was
weirder.
wondering if it was a guy or a girl.
It's a girl. But yeah, so I totally got like flustered. Like I had never been approached. Like at that point in my life, understand that like a teacher had never, with derision, spoken to me. So it was the first time an authority figure was like, "You might be in trouble," and I was like, "Fuck!" Like I did it. Just like don't bust my balls too bad. Like things are
Don't
good.
body shot my balls.
So I had to go and I had to tell my mom, and that was a whole thing. Like I was panicked the whole day. Anyway, I
Sorry,
go
Mom,
to
I
O
beat
room.
on the guy.
Yeah, I go to O room, and the guy is like, "Oh, so what you in for?" I was like, "I played Body Shots in the bathroom." He was like, "Oh, that's not too bad." And I was like, "I was fighting in school," and he's like, "Yeah, it's nothing." And I'm like, "What else happened?" He was like, "We have a surprising number of kids masturbating." Like one story about like this dude, like The one story that was really got to me, like the guy who was sitting next to me, who was a totally nice dude. What I found, it was like being in prison. What I found out he did is he pulled his dick out and put it on a girl in class, and I was like, why'd you do it? He's like, I don't know, I felt like the right thing to do in the moment, and I'm like, the fuck, dude? Like, I'm in here with the worst offenders. Like,
It's like putting someone who like jaywalked in prison with someone who like murdered.
yeah,
three people.
I felt like a cake bitch. Like, if people were just gonna come in and like pat my butt with their bodies.
Put on your shoulder, like right behind you.
Yeah, it never happened, but yeah.
I
it
knew
was fun.
somebody in high school who she told me in the secondhand where she's like, yeah, so I was there when someone got caught like having sex in the elevator.
Was she in the elevator?
No, so Brian might remember this. In our high school, there was like an elevator that
for the new building.
yeah, for the new building where like people with like
You went to
wheelchairs.
Hilltop.
I did. Did you also go to Hilltop?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was 2 years younger than we were.
Yeah.
We were.
You also go to Hilltop.
Hilltop.
I actually went to Hilltop too.
Oh,
No, I went to Castle Park.
This might
Don't
actually
let
been
me
after you guys had
I
graduated.
went to Hilltop for my SAT. Yeah.
Fuck off.
So she was just sitting around that area, and like, apparently two people had like gotten into the elevator and hit the emergency stop button, and were like having sex in it.
We've got 5 minutes. Let's go.
And obviously, if you hit the emergency stop button, it notifies somebody.
Please come up.
So they like went in there and like opened it up, and they were just like caught having sex in this elevator.
They're like, can you just give us like
I'm not
3
joking.
minutes?
They had like 5 minutes before someone probably showed up. 5 minutes is plenty of time.
All you gotta do is act scared. Your heart's already at a high pace, so it's cool.
I don't know, man. If
Oh God, officers, I'm sorry, but I panicked. I needed to take off all my clothes and mark my spot in the corner of the room. I'm designated.
well,
for
I would love it if, as a defense, the guy was just like, yeah, my dick doesn't work.
Yeah, I forgot my
That's
Viagra
sexy.
in my locker.
Prove it. Prove it right now.
Please.
My mom always said sex is for making babies, and if it don't work, it ain't sex.
So it's wait a minute. I've
When
got
you
a
find out you had sex 9 months later.
yeah. What? How about the Virgin Mary? Like, what was?
Well, obviously, I
What's
told
her
the
story?
story in the car. Like, an angel came down, fucked the shit out of her, and that's how Jesus was made.
I like to think so because like Jesus is God, right? So Jesus
God came down.
like did his mom,
Yeah.
which to
How do you
be
think
born.
he felt? How do you think he felt
Here,
when
with-
he was like,
with
listen,
Down
I've got a
syndrome?
better Jesus story, but it takes a while to get there. Not too long, but it takes a while.
It depends. Is it a joke?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. It's not a joke, but it's funny.
It's gonna be-
So King James, right? King James the First. The guy who sanctioned the translation of the Bible into English.
Okay, so in my head, you are King James, by the way.
Sure. King James had a lover. It was a man.
So you.
And he was
You're a man.
more gay. Like, he was more promiscuous about it than was allowed
so
back
he was.
then.
You were also fucking Getch.
No,
Already called concubine.
only one lover, right? But he had a gay lover. He had a male lover, and he was really like open about it.
No, Getch is the queen.
Whatever. Point is, gay lover, male lover, and he was really open about it. And there's a timeline where over the course of about 20 years, it's just like King James gives his male lover like a title of like Earl of
dongs.
Buckingham or something, right? And it keeps escalating. It's just like Duke of Buckingham, and like something of this other region, like the Lord of Buckingham. Like, it keeps escalating, and it's really, really funny, because it's
Just not to
every
not to
year,
us.
like, it gets like promoted again. It's like, okay, man, we get it. You really love your male lover. God damn it, calm down. The church was sort of pissed off because
reasons.
he was more openly like gay than was allowed back then in the 1600s. So what he does is he pays for the translation of the Bible into English from Hebrew. But one of the things that he did when he was making a case for why it was okay for he to be with his male lover was he goes in front of like a court or something and he says like, listen, I'm not saying that I am gay or that I have like a male lover or anything, but if I did, just remember, Jesus had John and I have this guy. So his argument was, guys, remember, Jesus was also gay. So I think I am within my right to be gay.
I don't.
And
Who's
that was-
John?
What is
John
this?
the Baptist.
So
John the Baptist.
I don't. Is this based on historical events?
Yeah. I saw it on Twitter the other day, and it was really funny.
Okay.
So Twitter, the most trustworthy of.
Can I share? I just want to share something with you guys. I have a friend who's the worst at telling jokes.
His name Brian.
No. This isn't a bit. This is like, I got someone like over like Facebook Messenger recorded themselves telling a joke and sent it to me, and I asked them if I could use it for the podcast and forgot about it. And you telling that reminded me of this because it was a bad joke. But it's something spectacular. I think it's just something like.
So we have this map of
Okay.
the Northeast Kingdom.
That's all you get.
This is where I live, the Northeast Kingdom of Vermont.
I don't
I can't hear it.
Got it.
I don't know what it's saying.
I'll just hand this over to you.
And I was looking at it, and
This is
I
so.
was like, what if we made a 3D map?
3D map.
There's 3 minutes of this. I don't know at what point the punchline happens.
3D map of it was like, you know how we, in like Earth Science, and you make those, like the elevation maps?
Oh my god.
Is she drunk?
No,
I don't-
that is that human being. She's also lovely, by the way. Like one of my favorite people. Like
And that's where a John means sexual lover.
I can't do this 2 more times.
Again,
What the joke?
I wouldn't do it to you. No, so I won't do it to you. She even asked me like, "Did you get it?" And I just like
No.
I ignored it.
Sorry.
I'm always worried. So like, the reason I don't respond to messages, like one of the core ideas there is that I'm worried that the other person's gonna realize that I'm not interesting. So, but this was not that. This is me being like, I don't even know, like how to respond to this thing. But it was fantastic.
If you couldn't hear it, it was just the person is so excited about the punchline that it takes 3 minutes to get there, and most of it is her just laughing at it.
Guys, but what if Buffalo Wild Wings, but they're really buffalo?
Whoa! That's the joke.
Yeah, it's just
That's
like
it.
what? I don't understand. I don't
is she
get it.
under the influence of something?
No, that is that.
I look. I'm sure whatever the joke was probably really fun to her. In the same way that if you're a mathematician, there's probably things that are funny to you and are not funny to anyone else. I get it.
Like Getch's tattoo.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. It's a molecule, probably
It's
It's a graph,
for anthrax.
an angraph, if you will.
I'm talking shit, but like when he explained it, I was like, that's actually pretty fucking rad.
Yeah, I mean, it has to do with this idea. So, like, to kind of deviate for a second and just talk about stuff that I really like, because that's what the podcast has to be sometimes. There's this idea in computation, P is not equal to NP. So polynomial is not equal to non-polynomial. So polynomial is a class of problem that you can solve in a realistic amount of time using a computer. And P does not equal NP means that there is another class of problem that we cannot solve with computers. And one of them, there's these millennium problems where you have to, if you answer them, you get $1 million. And one of these is prove that P does not equal NP. Yeah, no, totally. I mean, like, it's one of these things where it's like, if you get it, it's like, oh, and if you don't, it's like, oh, whatever.
No, I think it's nifty.
Yeah, so like there's this class of problem that basically computers can't solve, and it's looking like P does not equal NP. But this class NP of problems, if you solve one of them,
Still going.
oh yeah, no, this is gonna be like an hour. Welcome to the Skill Floor
No, I
lecture
mean the comment
series.
section, they're just gonna be Z's.
Yeah, but there's
He's actually asleep on his keyboard.
that's incredible. Yeah, I'm amazed that his face is small enough that he's able to only hit the Z key.
And that he's able to hit the enter key every so often.
Yeah, it's because he's like rolling
We
his
get
head.
it. You're a genius.
But I'm not.
No, he has glasses. We already know that.
Yeah,
So-
no, and a
He's got
tiny
glasses, a beard.
and a tiny penis. All of the keys of being an intelligent person: no penis, beard, glasses, horrible luck in bed. This is it. I'm really the whole package. Alcoholism. It's great. But there's this class of so there's this class of problem. Basically, at the NP problem sets, if you solve one of them, you solve all of them because they all have their solution. It gives you the solution to every other class of problem. So like one example of this is like if you have a network of nodes and they're all connected to each other in different ways, how can you find the biggest section of nodes that are connected inside of that whole system? And if you solve that, you also get the smallest number of nodes that are connected too. And that's true for every one of these problems, and there's a ton of them, and they keep being found over and over again. Where the solution is basically you have to just check everything, and it takes forever. It's just not possible
Sure.
without checking everything, right? So there's this whole class of problem that just totally is not solvable by computers. And so my tattoo is all about it's like a heartbeat over like connecting the mankind to computers, but also like this graph which tells us that computers are not the solution to every problem. So it's like you let computers into your life because they make things better,
Catch the moth in you.
but you don't get you're not.
The moth is like fluttering around you.
I hope it dies.
It's
of
on your
boredom.
pants.
No, leave it. I like bugs the same way I like talking about computer things.
Okay.
Ah.
Okay. Then I'm gonna stomp
That's
this
why.
right now.
That's why we're moving on to section 2 of this lecture.
Fuck.
P equals NP in the bedroom. How it'll fail you. How it won't.
This is the same thing, but it also has a sweet bass line in the back.
Did your like penis become smaller just from lack of use in college?
No, it was. So,
you kidding? I'm sure you used it like.
I mean, you
3
did have
times a
sex
day.
on that freshman.
On the freshman.
That's a story for a whole other time.
Listen, here's a legitimately I think
Oh, it wasn't
funny
even a
joke.
freshman; it was a minor.
It was a prospective student.
Oh no, legitimately funny joke I think that is universal, and that's
Usually you don't have to say that when you're telling a joke.
a friend.
Trust me, this is funny.
A friend told me to take him off speaker while in a room with you, and whispers "Hail Hydra" to me.
Yep, no, that was really good.
And it just, how do you respond to that? How
No,
do you
he hung up.
convey?
He did not give you a chance.
No, no. How do you move on from life?
It'd be funny if like you just got a text message later. It's like,
It's the one I saw is just with the speaker went, hey, is Joe there? Like, yeah. Like, all right, hang up. No, I'm sorry. I'll speak around. Sure. He pulls up to his face, and all I see is just, like the look of like shock and awe. I thought he just killed himself over the phone or something. It was weird.
It's just like, how do you come back from that? You don't. It's just so. It's one of those things that will never ever happen again. That's funny. It's never gonna happen again, right? Like it's.
You're gonna
Well,
look back
I mean,
on it
at some
and
point,
It's like
right?
no,
Like-
me,
like on
you,
your
and
wedding
another
day.
friend walked to Fuddruckers, and on the way to Fuddruckers, the other friend says, "Let's just order in a different accent, all 3 of us, and just not break character." And we did it. He was Scottish, I was Australian,
I think I was Russian. I don't fucking know.
and we did it
And you
because
were
it was just
all
stupid.
idiots. That's the punchline of that is that the lady working there went home that day and like had this bottle of Jameson she was saving for like a special occasion. She's like, those fucking people today, and pops it open and is like cries a single tear while she pours herself a
I know
whiskey.
they weren't. They all had the same high school jacket on.
It's just, it's one of those things, right? Like you experience it, and you go home, and you're like, my life will never be the same.
Yeah, it's that much worse now.
Yeah.
Are you ready to end the stream, Phil? Says Teddy.
It doesn't matter.
Go all night.
Yeah.
On
But
that
actually,
podcast.
yeah, I think this is a good place to give a rapperino.
Let me
Alright.
start flashing
Back
the
to
lights.
the Get Scam.
All right, everyone. Thank you for going to the after show. It's been fun. We will see you all next week for more wacky adventures and wacky inflatable 2-bar men. The stream will be up on iTunes and all of the other like podcast places in a bit. I just need to sit down. Oh, I have to find the audio, which is surprisingly an operation. But we'll be all set and good to go in just a bit. Besides that, thank you all for coming. It's been a ton of fun. I've been joined by, of course, the lovely guests on the Couchino. Would you guys each want to introduce yourselves real quick?
We never did that, so yeah, sure.
Sure.
I'm Joe. I'm his friend from high school.
I am Garbage Mouth. I can take anything that I say out of my mouth and turn it into a sentence.
Is your hit song "Hey Now You're a Trash Mouth"?
No, stop. This is turning into another topic. Just introduce yourselves and go. We all want to go home.
I'm Mad Cat. I sweat all over this couch.
Yeah, I absolutely am gonna go home and have like a rash on my ass.
We are one now.
You're part.
I'm
I'm all
Phil.
part of you.
This is Phil. He's probably my favorite on the couch.
Is it?
Thanks.
He didn't even bring beer this time.
Love you.
It's because I can't drink it. He knows.
You
He's
have
being
whiskey right
considerate.
there.
And last but not least, we've got the intolerable Getch. Sorry, I meant intangible.
My-
We should say bye to Aeneas, shouldn't we?
Ooh, also, yeah. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. We'll see you all
Bye,
Next
Aeneas.
time.
He seemed like he just
Farewell.
wanted Phil out of